The story begins with a commercial for a shopping mall and resort called Waters Cove. We see the town of Angel Falls is decorated fully for Christmas, and all its people are in full cheer. They are gathered round a Christmas tree for their annual tree lighting. On the podium, with the tree, there's an influential businessman, Henry Waters, with his wife and his brother Buck. He makes a speech, and they light up the tree in full cheer. A girl, Winnie, with the rest of her family, are on their way to the car when Henry accosts her father, David, and the rest of the Carruthers family. He takes her father away with him to go do some work. Her brother Jimmy tries to talk to Buck, but Buck seems addicted to his TikTok. Henry and David are at the house of an old man, Roger Evans, who has refused to sign away his house. Henry tries to reason with him, citing that his land is what is left to ensure that the space for the Waters Cove is complete. As they discuss, Roger's granddaughter Kara comes out preparing to leave the house. Mr. Waters looks at her suspiciously and asks her to be safe. She exits the house after saying goodbye to her grandfather. She drives to the Carruthers house to pick up her best friend, Winnie. Jimmy tells Winnie that he would come later. He says that he has to do his hair. Kara tells Winnie how Mr. Waters is at her house telling her grandfather to sign away their house. And later, we see Winnie take a picture of Kara and they drive off. On getting to the party, they meet up with their other friend Darla, who stops Winnie from talking to a girl who they nicknamed Weirdo. Jimmy and his boyfriend are outside making out when they hear someone in the woods. They quickly go back into the party for fear that someone is watching them. Meanwhile, Roger Evans, who's at home, hears someone banging on his door, and when he goes to answer it, his throat is slit. Later on, Kara goes out under the lights with her boyfriend, and as they kiss, a knife is driven into his back, and then the masked figure dressed in an angel costume chases after her. She runs and bangs on a glass door which draws the attention of her friends, and then the figure plunges the knife into her multiple times. Winnie rushes out to her dead body, and then the masked figure begins to chase her into the woods. It tries to attack her, but she is saved by her brother. The figure tries to kill Jimmy, but she electrocutes him, and when they remove the mask, she finds out that it's Mr. Waters. 1 year later, and it's another Christmas Eve. We see another advertisement, but it's for Carruthers Realty this time. Winnie seems fed up by the advertisement. The family goes out, where Winnie encounters Buck, who accuses her of killing his brother and tells her that he is supposed to kill her. He walks away. When they get home, they meet their Aunt Gail and her girlfriend. They carry out a family tradition of opening one present on Christmas Eve. Winnie gets a workout suit. Winnie goes upstairs to try on the workout suit begrudgingly, but when she comes back, she doesn't meet her family in the house. On going outside, she finds that they have gotten Jimmy a new truck. She gets angry at her parents for acting like her best friend didn't die the year before and like she didn't kill someone. Jimmy tries to pacify her to no avail. Winnie gets angry at her family for not allowing her to grieve properly and then goes to meet her boyfriend at a party. At the party, she finds her boyfriend cheating on her with her friend, Darla. She storms out and goes by a bridge. That night, there is an aurora, and she wishes that she had never been born. Suddenly, the lights on the bridge go out. A bit startled, she walks over to a man to inquire about the outage, but he's of no help, seeing that he has a knife lodged in his head. Winnie then sees the angel, screams, and starts running to find help. She comes across Buck, who has become sheriff, but he doesn't seem to remember her. And then, shockingly, she comes across Mr. Waters, who has now become mayor. Winnie goes to her house, but none of her family members recognize her. She finds that her mother's an alcoholic and that her brother Jimmy is dead. She goes back to the party where she meets the girl named Bernie, whom they nicknamed Weirdo. She begs her for help, and the weirdo agrees. Unknown to Winnie, a girl named Vicky and a guy named Nate were killed at the party. When they go into Bernie's room, Bernie accuses her of being the angel, which she denies. Bernie points a knife at her and tells her that it's when she went out that the two victims were killed. As they have the altercation, the real killer breaks into the window and tries to kill them. They run to the theater where Bernie works to sleep over for that night. That night, they realize that the reason why Jimmy is dead in that world is because Winnie did not exist to save him and kill the murderer. Bernie reveals that the people who died all have affiliations with one business or the other, and then also learn that the Aurora would leave after a short while. The next morning, they decide that Winnie should go see her father and mother. She goes to their house with Bernie. She speaks with her father, who asks her to leave his office because she calls him dad. Later, she goes downstairs and finds her alcoholic mother with another man. As she questions her mother, the woman blames her father for never being around, and when they suddenly hear a door close during the altercation, the mother says that it's her father leaving to work again. Bernie and Winnie go to the next room to talk to Gail, and when they return, they find that her mother has been murdered with her side piece. The masked angel is still standing there, so they run up the stairs, and Winnie hits him in the head with a frame, and then he falls unconscious and tumbles down the stairs. They cross over the angel, and when Winnie crosses over him, she removes his mask and finds that it's her father. At that moment, he gets up and chases them out of the house. They go to the movie theater and decide that if Winnie wants to go back to a world where she exists, she'd have to kill the angel. They go into the movie theater and lure the angel to the theater. The angel turns off the power supply to the theater, and they are left in the dark. Darla and Winnie's ex happen to come to the theater, and they are both murdered by the angel. Winnie uses Bernie's camera flash to navigate through the theater, while Bernie struggles to get the lights back on. When the light comes back on, Winnie rushes up the stairs and rams a shard of wood into the angel's stomach, killing him. She goes back to the spot where she made the wish in order to make another wish to go back to a world where she exists. As the wish doesn't work, she begins to scream at the Aurora to give her life back. Still, the wish doesn't work, and she realizes that she has to murder the mayor, Mr. Waters, in order for the wish to come true. She goes to where they are having a tree lighting and watches as Mr. Waters slits his brother, Burke's throat, and hangs him on the tree in an angel costume. She sees that the whole town watches without a reaction, and all seem to be in a trance. Winnie and Bernie confront the mayor, and he confesses to killing Jimmy and using her father's grief to make him continue the murders. He also tells them that he killed the people in order to have full control over the town. The two girls begin to hit Mr. Waters, and just then, the town comes out of their trance and mobs him. When he manages to escape from the mob and comes back to attack the girls, Bernie stabs him. Winnie goes back to where she made the wish and sees that the Aurora is almost faded. She quickly makes the wish, and she and Bernie share a kiss. The next morning, she wakes up in bed and runs downstairs to hug her family, hoping they remember her. Her aunts tell her that she got drunk the night before. She rushes to Bernie's house, but Bernie acts like she doesn't remember her, before letting out some laughs. The two go on to start their day, now that everything is well in their world.